Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Today we are going to do catching a tennis ball that's being bounced. But before we do that, let's talk about some important parts that have to be in place for throwing and catching. So, first, your feet, okay? The key is to have your feet apart, not together. If your feet are together, then you're less strong and less balanced than if your feet are apart, okay? The next part is that your knees should be slightly bent. I'm going to stand sideways so you can see that. There, my feet together with my knees straight. Now my feet are apart and my knees are slightly bent. So I have a little bounce in me right there, okay? When your feet are apart and your knees are slightly bent, we call that an athletic position. Athletic position, okay? So let's everybody get like this. Now, ready? Athletic position, everybody. Good. And so when you're in an athletic position, you can do better. Athletic means to be like an athlete. An athlete is a person who plays sports or games. Okay. The next part in catching is your hands, okay? And I want to just point out three things to you. The palm of your hand, this is the palm of your hand, okay? And then this is the back of your hand. So the palm of your hand can either be facing the ground, facing the ceiling, or facing sideways. Your other hand could be facing that way. So there's three positions for the palm of your hand. I just wanted to point that out. And the other thing I want you to do is I want you to recognize that, and I think you already do, this isn't news to you, but one of your hands is better than the other. So this one hand we call your dominant hand. How do you know what your dominant hand is? Pick up an imaginary pencil and start writing something in the imaginary air on an imaginary piece of paper. If you reach to pick up that pencil or pick up an imaginary crayon and do some drawing, whichever hand you naturally reach for and whichever hand you use, that's your dominant hand. The other hand is called your non-dominant hand. Now in catching, we're going to try to make both of your hands dominant hands. We're going to try to make one hand just as good as the other. But one hand starts off a little better than the other one does. That's your dominant hand. So, athletic position, knees bent. Hands position of your palm is either facing down, facing up, or facing sideways. Let's remember that. We're going to come back to all those things in a little bit. The last important part is your eyes. So your eyes are a big part of catching because you have to watch the ball. We have this thing, we say, keep your eye on the ball. That doesn't mean this, like keeping your eye physically on the ball, but it means have your eye watch the ball go up and down and watch the ball into your hands. Okay? So now, I take an athletic position. My knees are bent. The first thing is, the first catch, we're going to take you through about 8 or 9 skills right now. The first one is 2 hands on the ball, drop the ball, and then catch the ball with 2 hands, with your with your palms facing up. Okay? Notice my knees bending a little bit. Okay? By the way, I've got a good, nice tile floor here. The ball bounces nicely off of it. Kind of make sure you're in a place where the ball can bounce for you. Also, be careful with these balls. Be careful, especially if you're inside your house. Okay, the next one is you're going to bounce the ball with your dominant hand. My dominant hand is my right hand. And you're going to catch the ball with 2 hands. So it's this, and then you catch the ball with 2 hands. Both of my palms, you notice, are facing up. So it's here and here. Notice I'm still in my athletic position. Here and here, here and here. Okay, now I'm going to take my non-dominant hand and do the same thing. Here and here, here and here, here and here. So let's review those 3 things real quick, and then we'll close this first video out. 2 hands on the ball, drop it, 2 hands catching the ball. Dominant hand, drop it, 2 hands catching the ball. Non-dominant hand, drop it, 2 hands catching the ball. get ready for video number 2 in just a little bit.